Hey everyone, I wanted to start taking a look into Dota history and giving people the stories of where things in Dota came from, as well as maybe taking a look at current things that are going on. But right now, this is a look at some Dota history. So today, February 27th, not too much happened Dota history-wise, except a Godz was born.
I'm David Parker.
Tell me about this.
For sure? It's Tiger Man.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Summit studios. It's time for WPC Ace.
Okay, so I know that was really cheesy, but today is God's birthday. So David Parker, a well-known Dota 2 caster and entrepreneur, obviously, with the beloved Beyond the Summit. And then he also has been a professional player and was a manager as well as a tournament organizer and everything else in between. So I wanted to give you guys a look at where exactly Godz came from, his background, and just sort of everything about him, including a lot of embarrassing things. So my apologies to Godz. I couldn't resist. There's some really funny things to go back and look on. But if we go back to the beginning, obviously he was very committed from the start.
Quit my full-time job about 2 or 3 days before TI1. Looking back, the two may have been somewhat related, but I am really excited. I remember last year I was commentating like multiple different tournaments, and I would literally sleep in my office there. I had a little office which I shared with TTE Sports.
Now I mentioned that he played professionally and managed a team. So he managed a team that at TI2, an Australian team was at TI2, called Absolute Legends is who they were sponsored by at the time. He was a manager for them, and he occasionally stood in as typically a 5-position support player. Now, back in those days, Twitter was not quite the hub that it is now, but the team that he managed was originally N9, and so they dropped their AL sponsor, and Godz was the source of all information concerning this team. As the mouthpiece and manager for Australia, essentially, Godz was who told Gosu gamers what exactly was happening with teams. He organized tournaments, he casted them, he did everything. So it is no surprise that he is the one mostly responsible for the TI2 Eastern qualifiers.
These qualified back then as well, although it came under the Gosu gamers name. It was actually myself and Tusky who did all the team organizing, scheduling. We did the Beyond the Summit stream with myself and LD.
It makes complete sense that he was obviously 100% dedicated to casting back in the day. So let's take a look at some of the early Godz casting.
Alrighty everybody, good evening! It's GESTIDC, we're here with Dota 1 action. I'm Godz from Beyond the Summit, and I'm here casting a game between iZone, Gigabyte, and Myth Trust. For those of you tuning in thinking, what is this? I was expecting Dota 2. Well, you're in for a hopefully somewhat pleasant surprise, or at least a fresh and unique time just before the fight breaks out. But in comes the Raging Lifesteal. They bring down the ward before anything happens. Great Chronosphere from the Faceless Void. They move on to the Drow Ranger. They're going to bring down 2. Let's try and make it 3. Not going to happen, though. It's a bit of a turnaround. Actually, 2 for 2. It looks like iZone took down 2 of their own.
Stable here on this Tongfu side. How is just a bit too under-leveled. Doesn't really have the punch needed with just an armlet, and they can't contest this without Queen of Pain.
Godz, it all started with this ward we see here just on the edge of the cliff. In fact, they were trying to de-ward as that fight broke out.
Yeah, that's kind of what DK were waiting for. They just had to sit back and wait for an overextension, wait for a mistake. It came and they really punished it.
Now, one of the things that Godz has always been known for is his interesting fashion sense. He's always managed to give us something to talk about. Again, my apologies, but I saw this picture and I couldn't resist, and I wanted you guys to really see, Godz's origins.
On the Beyond the Summit TV channel, I'm David, just David today. We're no longer David and David, but hopefully I can bring you all the action in as good a quality as possible. Some of you may notice, where's 720p options gone? Where's all this other fancy stuff which LD stream offers? Why is it not as clear as usual? Unfortunately, due to internet reasons, due to a cap on the internet here in Australia, I can only stream at certain qualities. My upload rate does not handle faster.
It's amazing to think back to the early days of streaming, that 720 was considered the high end, and just that, you know, internet was at such a place that he was limited in streaming in a low quality just because his internet was capped. But no matter what, Godz was there to bring us the Dota action. I say us, I unfortunately was not watching at this point. So that's one of the reasons I did this dive, is I didn't really know where Godz came from. And he's done so much for the scene. I wanted to understand what those early days looked like. And now that I do, I want you guys to understand what those early days looked like. Now, one of the other things that Godz is known for is his duo, David and David. So LD and Godz, David Gorman and David Parker, are an iconic duo that we may not see that much anymore, but for any Dota fan, they're one that you'll never forget.
A salvage for LGD out of what looked like a terrible situation.
Absolutely, and you can't even, like, that's the right play to go for Secret. Teasing the front lanes, if they get the Crave off, that doesn't go as one-sided as it kind of ended up going in LGD's favor.
What I really like to look is, this is a man with hope, ambition, he has a future, he sees his goals, his visions, and then tragedy strikes.
Too much smiling for me, you know?
Now, I keep using the word iconic, and that is because Godz was there from the start. Some of the memories that we think of, some of the memes that we refer to, some of the things that people will never forget, Godz was there.
No legs. Morphling, no legs. Enigma, no legs. Lina has 2 legs, but she's flying, so she doesn't use it. That's the strat right there.
The no-leg strat is so imba.
Very good, you have to admit.
How does it compare to the blue hero
You
strategy?
were writing notes down the whole frigging game.
He actually went off.
You had everything.
He was the only one.
That's what you give us.
He was the only one.
If there's anyone there, can you hear me?
Hello, Bruno.
Oh my god, how are you? Who is it?
You sound disappointed. It's Godz. How are you?
God.
Statsman Bruno, while he may be behind the Valve wall now, created a lot of memories for us, and Godz was a part of those. And just to, you know, lighten things so we don't get too serious, fashion extraordinaire, oh yes, there is more from the incredible David Parker.
I had a lot to live up to. Like, Bruno on the panel obviously has me beat in style, but I was like, the one thing coming here I was not going to happen is have someone like Malk outclass.
DK versus IG. Pikachu at my side. Pikachu, let's go.
No, I'm not making fun of him. I just want you guys to really enjoy what a character he's been and how much he's contributed to the scene with his very unique flavor that he brings to everything. And as we talk about contributions to the scene, the biggest one that comes to mind, obviously, is Beyond the Summit. Beyond the Summit is an integral part of Dota. They handle a ton of the casting that goes on now. They have insane content. They cover Dota nonstop. They have some of the best talent. We have other studios. The other studios are great, but Beyond the Summit really did something completely different. And they started from incredible, humble beginnings.
Welcome back, everybody, to the pre-game show for the G1 League semifinals for DK versus Orange. I'm LD. He's Godz, and we are extremely excited for this match. And so too is my cat, and unfortunately, XSplit gets me again. There we go. Hey, Godz.
Hi, LD.
Hi.
How's it going?
Are you prepared at all to talk about, I guess, your future plans after this event? Is there a chance you would join Orange full-time?
Yeah, there's a pretty high chance that I will join Orange full-time, but depends on the result of this tournament, I think, because...
Now, whether you were around at the time or have paid any attention to Dota since then, you've probably heard about how Beyond the Summit got started.
I'm David Parker.
And I'm David Gorman.
Together, we are Beyond the Summit. Beyond the Summit is a grassroots esports organization.
We run and broadcast some of the best Dota 2 events in the world.
And so obviously it was Godz who kind of started it all and then brought in LD, and they became partners with a Kickstarter to move to LA, create a studio that just was completely dedicated to Dota 2 content, production level, and making everything amazing. And they delivered on all 3 points when you look at production level. The summits have been something truly special for the Dota community. And they've expanded them to be even beyond the Dota community, beyond the summit, beyond the Dota community. They're really sticking with their brand. But that brand has brought a ton of incredible content. In addition to high production level, they've also created content that fans truly appreciate and enjoy.
Let fate guide it. Oh my god, a double kill!
Draw your first person that you're going to draw, so pull one head out. After user. On random?
I really never thought that I would say a bathtub interview was, you know, one of the key pieces of esports content that we will ever see or think of. But hey, it just happened to work out that way. As I said, Godz' unique character has really brought a ton to the scene, and that is truly noticed in his Enchantress cosplay. So he's a betting man, apparently, and he lost a bet, and the Enchantress cosplay was promised for over a year.
So there's a lot of hype for TI, but something even more important is the cosplay. Are you actually doing it, or are we gonna? Yeah.
Now, despite what he said in that hotbit interview, it took him a little longer to deliver. Not necessarily Godz' fault. He did explain that there were some issues with getting the costume commissioned and everything with that, and he wanted to do it properly. So, as is appropriate, he did it at the summit too. So, with Merlini kind of hinting at it ahead of time, and then the rest of us getting to see it in person. In my case, it was just... I remember Wicked talking about drawing the abs on. And so eventually Godz delivered and gave the community what they thought they wanted with his incredible Enchantress cosplay. Beyond the Summit and Godz have stayed true to their mission statement, always. They know how to deliver amazing content. They know how to deliver upon bets. They're amazing at selling out, and they're amazing at not taking themselves too seriously.
What's the secret? It's becoming like BTS. You gotta sell out every once in a while.
Godz has been there from the beginning, so if this little dive just gave you an inkling of the amount of work that man put in, I hope that helped, because we owe a lot of what Dota is today to him. And he is a caring, compassionate, passionate, dedicated person, which you can see when you look at any panels he's on or any content he's a part of.
Godz, I didn't think there was anyone more teary than me on this panel, but I think you might be beating me, buddy. Are you all right? Okay. I think we'll move on. But thank you. Shiva, thank you.
And again, I apologize to Godz for bringing up what's probably a lot of embarrassing moments, but what I also hope are good memories. And I hope that everybody who checks this out and gets this little tiny slice, this little sliver of what he has done for us, understands. So with this narrative in the Dota past, we're going to say happy birthday to Godz. That is what happened on this day, February 27th, 1990. You know, go back a bit. So happy birthday to Godz, and thank you for everything that he has done. And go wish him happy birthday, guys, and go enjoy Beyond the Summit for what it has become today.
So this could be one of the first times my bedroom has seen some camera time.